Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going to take a closer look at how Rana could have possibly defeated the Empire of Baharut and saved the Kingdom of Re-Estize from otherwise certain defeat. And last time, link to the video is down in the description, we have taken a look at how Rana would have dealt or failed to deal with Ainz Ooal Gown and the Great Tomb of Nezarec, as well as how the internal affairs would lead her to become the de facto queen of the nation, albeit with a divided hostile nobility at court. But before we take a look at how things could evolve further, let's take a look at my Patreons and thank them for supporting this channel. Furthermore, I say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. Also please check out my fantasy channel, it's linked down in the description. Now with all of that said, let's take a closer look at how the Empire would react to Rana's consolidating power. Emperor Jircniv wanted to defeat the kingdom by destroying its economy, to the point that the kingdom would be too weak and too starved of food to defend itself, so that he could then conquer it with minimal losses and without the constant strain of mobilization. The economy of Re-Estize would recover, thus ensuring popular support once Jircniv begins his reign. So naturally the last thing he wanted to occur is a golden princess already beloved by the people to take care of the economy, reform the state structure and consolidate power, while the nobility is too busy with infighting and, from Jircniv's very own point of view, assassinating another. But this would also make Emperor Jircniv consider an option he previously had refused, because he wanted to implement Rana's very own ideas into his own empire, simply because they were that much more efficient than his very own. So Rana would become now a target for assassination, and for the assassin order Ainz, and one of Tia's and Tina's sister, the third twin sister, called Tria in the web novel, who yet has to make her debut in the story. But since she is an assassin, just like her twin sister, and since Evil Eye, a legendary vampire, as well as Gazav Stronov and Brain Anglaus, would defend Rana, it stands to argue that even Tria would fail. Maybe she will also join Blue Roses. And with the assassination failing, Jircniv will have to go into damage control and invade the Kingdom of Re-Estize in order to dethrone Rana, while she is still consolidating her power. But Jircniv's failed assassination attempt would not only rally the common folk behind the Golden Princess, but also the nobility of the Kingdom of Re-Estize, whom, with all of the assassinating going on, would start to become very suspicious of the Empire, instead of Rana's two other twin assassins. And at this point, Rana would reveal that Marquis Bloom Rouge had always spied for the Empire, sowing even more confusion and distrust among the great nobles, as well as uniting them behind a common enemy, the Empire of Baharut. Meanwhile, the Empire would send its 6 legions into the kingdom, but this time, Rana will simply avoid to meet them in the open field, where they held the advantage. So either the Empire has to lay siege on the by that point heavily reinforced fortress city of Eventel, with the knowledge that their legions are most vulnerable when attacking a city, or Jircniv will have to bypass the fortress city and invade the kingdom. In order to ensure that the supply lines could actually supply the legions, Jircniv might avoid sending them through Eventel's direct vicinity, while Fluda and his magic casters, as well as the sizable Imperial Air Guard, could at least partially supply the only 60,000 man strong legion with food from above. The rest needed will be then taken from the peasants in the border regions. Jircniv at this point would want to wage a decisive battle in order to bring his campaign to a quick conclusion. But with the triple assassins on her side, Rana could take out senior officers and powerful fighters, while the army is still just advancing to enemy territory. And thus at least one other Imperial Knight should be taken out, while the second is required to stay at the Imperial Palace at all the time. Furthermore, I also don't believe that Emperor Jircniv would risk Fluder Paradane in battle, so therefore he would be more of a support role, busy with securing the aerial supply. And while the Empire would still enjoy the better fighting force, the peasants would absolutely hate them, and while they can't hope to fight off the invaders on their own, they can pass intel to Tia, Tina and Tria, only for Gazev, Evil Eye, Gargaran, Brain Anglos and Climb to quickly strike at the weakest Imperial units, cause a couple hundred casualties, and then return before any counterstrike can commence. And after a troublesome passing through 2 mountain ranges and the continued guerrilla campaign for the first time, the Royal Army will try to fight. Or should I say armies? In order to encircle the outnumbered Imperial troops, 3 separate Royal armies will march towards the Imperial Legion, who then will also split into 3 forces, or rather, it will pretend to be splitting. The 4 main legions will meet 1 army, and the other 2 will hold off the advancing royal troops, only for the intended target of the 4 Imperial legions to quickly withdraw, seeking refuge in a nearby town. The 5th Legion will face a far larger army, with Gazev, Brain Anglaus, the Blue Roses, Climb, and any other powerful retired adventurer or mercenary as the tip of the spearhead, utterly shattering the Legion before this royal army marches towards the 6th Legion, that now also faces the problem of an entrenched royal army hiding behind high walls. The Imperial Legion will now face an army to the front, and the advancing main force to the rear, and therefore it will either be defeated or shattered, only to then be ripped apart by elite troops of the kingdom, again Gazev, Brain Anglaus, Evil Eye, and the rest of the elite outriders. At this point, the 4 other legions could either be attacked by 2 armies in the rear while they try to breach the besieged city, or they could abandon the siege in order to face the 2 advancing armies, only to then be attacked in the rear by the 3rd army that is now behind them and will undoubtedly be very angry because of the siege. But at this time, Rana will hold a magnificent speech in the royal capital city, which has 1 million inhabitants, and even in the canon timeline, after the Battle of the Cards Plain, Re-Estize still could manage to mobilize over 400,000 troops. So this time, let's say that Rana managed to bring another 100,000 men into the royal army. This, of course, would lead the balance of power to completely shatter and not only tip, because now 4 Imperial legions are deep into enemy territory without adequate supply, outnumbered 40,000 to 400,000, so 1 to 10, all while facing such heroes as Gazev Stronov, Westerklov the Läufin, Brain Anglaus, the Blue Roses, and Evil Eye especially. So at this point Rana would just negotiate the safe passage of the 4 remaining Imperial legions, and Jircniv will personally travel to the kingdom and take the legions home, thus ensuring their continued loyalty in spite of the disastrous campaign, because Jircniv would now risk his very own skin in order to quote-unquote save the legions. Once the Empire is defeated, Rana could then negotiate a lasting peace deal, perhaps in exchange for advice on policies, and the 3 master assassins Rana happens to know would ensure that Jircniv would not dare to invade again, while simultaneously protecting the Emperor from any assassination attempts or a bit too ambitious underlings if they would ever try to topple him. Now lastly, Rana would be not only a golden princess, but the one that finally defeated the Empire, and claim for his valor in battle and his leadership in air quotes, of the royal army would be made into a marquis as a reward, a suitable man to marry into the royal family by wedding the golden princess. Now this wouldn't be very popular with a lot of nobles, but to the surprise of most at court, the nobles that protested against Rana's reign the loudest were all gone now. They heroically died in battle, or in their sleep for some odd, arguably non-assassin related reason. and so Rana could reign as the Golden Princess, while Klein provides her with comfort. And maybe Rana will offer something enormous for the secret of Fluda Paradane's immortality spell. But that's another story. So this is pretty much how I would imagine how Rana would defeat the Empire and save the kingdom. And with all of that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Arder Daddy Arder, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, oh hell no, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Q Carcos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Vang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.